Hello and welcome to another Challenge Warlord Gold strategy guide. My name is Renstaud and today we will be covering the Iron Docks. And pretty much here at the beginning you want to do as large of a pull as possible, preferably pulling both those groups along with the Battle Master. Pretty much required in this instance. So we'll get everything grouped up, AoE gripped. You want to run with Gorfing's Grasp. If you've got a DK, you definitely want that in your group right here. Pretty much take out the Battlemaster quickly. Melee, tanks, watch out for Blade Storm. It does a lot of damage in here. There will be a lot of group damage as well. So be prepared for that, healers. DPS, pop personal CDs to help your healers out as well. Now, as soon as you get a few of these low, go ahead and pull this next group over here. The reason for this is to ensure you have your kill count at the end of the instance. Typically, you want to focus on your technicians first. They do most of the damage in these pulls. But here, we're just cleaving down everything, just, you know, having our way with them. So as soon as these guys are low, you'll pull the next group over here. You can opt to do this pull with one of the packs that's in the first boss room, but we chose just to overlap this, just to keep from falling too far behind on resources. Once you pull this pack, you want to kill the champion, kill her ASAP, so that way you don't have as many of the flaming arrows being shot at your group. The longer she's up, the more shit you have to avoid. Simple as that. So get rid of her quickly and move out of fire. See there, Darky got clipped by fire, which again will happen. On one attempt, I got decimated by the shit as well. It does a lot of damage. It'll actually start doing damage even before the arrows actually connect with the ground. So be mindful of that, healers. Again, this first pull is very healer intensive. As you can see here, our healers are going pretty because we were pushing to get through this as quickly as possible. Now the Siege Master here, he does a massive smash. That strike will hit anything within roughly 5 yards of him, so be sure you're a good distance away from him. Melee, try to be at max range, but most likely you'll get clipped by it anyway, just because it's a shit mob. Once you get him pretty low, you can pull the next group. Focus on the technicians and get them down as quickly as possible. Now, when you see the oil slicks occur on the ground, be sure you do not walk in them. Be sure you get the fuck away from them. Once you get one of the technicians down, you can start putting some damage up on the Battle Master. But still try to get the technician down as quickly as possible. See, here I am walking to the oil slick. So that's hopefully to demonstrate, don't do that. Now you'll want to pull these two mobs here in the corner. Again, just to ensure you have your kill count. Pull them quickly. It'll give your healer can actually at least sit and eat while you're pulling this mob here, which is a good thing. Help him get some mana back ASAP. But also to keep things moving along. So get these assholes down quickly. Then just run around the cannons over here. And we will be pulling the boss over here next to the dock. Or to the edge of the dock, rather, should I say. So we'll get over here, get in position, regain resources. This boss does quite a bit of damage. So be prepared for that, healers. Especially melee. Try to help your healers out by avoiding not only standing in the fire, but not getting mauled on as well. So tanks, be ready to try to pick them back up. Now, when the boss hops off his mount here, go ahead and kill his mount ASAP. Just get rid of it so he's not charging. The last thing you want to have happen is he gets on your healer and just mauls him. You don't want that to happen. So now the thing to be mindful for here, melee and even ranged DPS, be careful of cleave. When you see the cast coming out from the boss for reckless provocation, You cannot touch the boss. If you touch him, you'll get feared and stunned in place. And the last thing you need to have happen is you get stunned, feared, whatever, and then flaming arrows hit you, and you die in the fire because, well, you decided to hit the boss while he had his little blood shield up. So don't do that. Not allowed. Now dots will not trigger it, but direct attacks will. So again, just burst them down, burst them down. We've got another set of burning arrows. And of course, Tank just, when he does Reckless Provocation, just kite. And once it's off, go back to town, finish his ass off. Get up here, recover some resources. And mount up. Everyone else mount up. Healer can get some resources. Now what you want to do is have your tank face pull these so no one touched them. DPS, don't do nothing. Healers, don't even cast a heal or a hot. Because the last thing you want to have happen is for one of them to aggro back to you, which will pretty much botch this pull right here. So your tank will get them in position. They both get clipped and one shot by an Iron Star, which is just amazing. Everyone else can mount back up. And your Iron Star experts will fire off the Iron Stars to ensure everything that needs to get killed will get killed. That last pat there against the edge of the docks, you won't touch them or bother them. It is a nice plus to be able to hit them with an Iron Star because sometimes they can activate for some reason. We only had that happen one time. So right here, this is where it gets hectic. This will be the bottleneck for most groups, and this is the little gauntlet right here. Now what you want to try to do is get the adds out here into the gauntlet so that barrage does all the work for you. They will do all the damage. Now, we had I misplaced my army, which didn't help, but another thing that occurred too, AoE grip did fail, and the reason that failed is because, not of army, but we did have a small AoE snare or root go out, and it would not touch them. Now, placement of the adds is crucial right here. If you can place them like right there to where you can stand on that edge where I'm at, you won't get hit by the bombardment. But you just got to be mindful of the spinning blade, the whirling blades that's being thrown out at everyone. Just don't get hit by those. Those do just as much damage as the actual barrage itself, or so it seems. So, as you see here, the barrage is starting to clip them, and they're falling over pretty quick. So, here I am, about to stand in the damn blade. And we're going to mount up. Now we're going to haul ass over here. Now, you could pull this pack singly, or you could pull them with the big Ogron over there to the left there. We chose to get these guys down pretty quickly first. So we're going to get them stunned right here. And then when the barrage comes in, it'll take care of them for us. Again, this is going to be pretty brutal on melee. A tank can, for the most part, survive out there, so melee be mindful. When the barrage is coming, just duck out. Melee DPS isn't too crucial on this portion of the fight, just because the gauntlet, again, will do roughly 80% of all the damage for you. It's amazing how much it helps. So here we can get the big Ogron positioned accordingly, so he'll get clipped by the bombardment while we're over here safe. I was getting clipped myself, even though I was technically out of line of sight, or line of sighting it, but it can occur. It can happen. We did on one attempt during our daily challenge mode runs just for gear. Was a good 5 or 10 yards into cover, and we actually got clipped that one time. That might have just been a bug at the start of the expansion. We've never experienced it since. So in the event that you see someone taking damage but they're in cover, just be mindful of that. And of course right here, get your AoE down. AoE grip them fuckers out, stun them, and get into cover. Again, let the bombardment take care of all the damage for you. Tanks just run a small cooldown. Use a shield block, with stack with shield barrier. Death Knights use your rune taps to help survive that. Don't use none of your really big ones. I mean, just cycles cooldowns to help mitigate the damage from the bombardment so you can keep the adds out there. That's the thing. You want to keep all of these bastards outside so they're getting killed for you. You want to let that boss that's firing the bombardment, which is Skolok at the very end, you want him to do the work for you. You can take a moment up here. You'll probably have to get some resources back. If your healer is comfortable with his mana, you can go ahead and pull. Now your first target, you want to kill Dugru ASAP. The reason being is if you can, you want to try to remove her ability to cast her blood shield on people, including herself. So be sure you interrupt all the blood bolts. You can interrupt each one. It does a decent amount of damage, but nothing too fatal. But you want to get her down as quickly as possible. Now, if you remember back to the Paragons of the Calaxy, where you had a couple of the bosses, you had to bait one lower, so he would get encased in Ember. You want to do that right here. So instead, what we're doing is we're letting Dugru cast a Blood Boil on herself, and then we hard switch over to Nox, and we try to burn him down as quickly as we can. The reason being is if you attack Dugru while she has that blood shield up on her, she will heal for... it's a lot. I'll say that much right now. You can just put a few direct attacks on her. It heals for a lot more in challenge mode. So be careful of cleaves. Be careful of pets attacking. We have a pet attacking there, which sometimes the pets aren't that smart. Even if you tell them to attack your target, it's a shame. So right there, you saw that little bit of the absorb that was on her. She healed for just a smidgen of that, which isn't an issue. The worst case is she heals back to half health, which can happen. We've actually had that happen one time. But you have to pretty much hard swap to Nox as soon as that blood shield is going out on her. Just get off her immediately and get onto Nox and get Nox dead. You can opt to just go ahead and eliminate Nox from the fight right here, which we have our range doing that while the melee is sitting on the boss, bringing him down. So we're splitting our DPS at this point. It actually works out pretty nice for us. The big thing here, avoid the traps that are, see right there up there on the ramp, you see all those traps? Just don't ever get caught by those. If you walk into one, I think I walked into one at one point myself, they'll stun you in place, deal a lot of damage. DPS, healers, everyone needs to avoid those as well. They get thrown out all over the place, and those are thrown out by the Engineer Nox. And once those assholes are dead, if your healer mana is good, just start pulling the next pack. Depending on your time, you may have to overlap this pull with the next pull. We just opted to go ahead and just deal with these guys by themselves, just to wait for a cooldown or two, to buy a little time. We was actually able to afford some time right here. But you want to typically take out the big animal first. As soon as the Klepto is dead, finish up on these hunters here. They will do their little disengage, leap away from you. If you got a DK, just have them death grip them back into the group so you ain't got to kite and chase the fucker. So right here, just grip them two up. They should disengage in roughly the same direction. Sometimes they disengage in two different directions, which is fine. Just stick with one and grip the other one back with your single grip if you've got it available. Cycle stuns. See, they decided to group together, which is perfect. That's what we want. So we can continue cleaving off them and burning them down together. Again, these hunters, they'll drop these little black dots on the ground. That's their little explosive mines, whatever the hell they are. So just don't get... It's not explosive mines, but it's their little spikes. They slow your movement and deal a lot of damage, or a considerable amount of damage. Nothing too fatal. Just don't step into them. I walked into them there for a brief moment. So once we get up here, we want to kill the Iron Wings. We want to get rid of them quickly. Preferably, the ideal is to kill them before they get their lava barrage. They spit their lava blast on you. You can sometimes kill them before they get the first one off. If you don't, that's fine. Just stand out of the fire, but get rid of them ASAP. They deal the most damage compared to the other ads. So what we're going to do is just chain pull this motherfucker up here and go ahead and pull the next pack. And of course, once again, kill the Iron Wing. Focus everything on him. Let Cleave still do the rest of the work for the other ads to get damage out. Just avoid the fire. Now the fire does have a nasty margin of error. You can be about 2 yards outside of it sometimes, and it'll still the fire will still hit you. So that's why we want to get rid of this asshole first. It's not because of the damage, but the margin of error for avoiding the fire, it seems like at times it's ridiculous, and it makes it very aggravating. So here, as you saw there, I took quite a bit of damage, was also snared, walking through the spikes that was thrown down by the Huntard right here. And right here, we have our kill count. So this is why you want to, at the start of the instance, you want to pull the 3 extra adds. Yeah, that's my dogs barking in the background if you heard them. But yeah, that's why you want to pull the few extra adds at the beginning. You get your exact kill count right there. You want to avoid that pat we just skipped past, because they actually take a little bit of time. They actually have quite a lot of health, and they also do a lot of damage to your group. So, pretty much on this fight is simple. It's exactly the same as Heroic. He just deals a lot more damage, so just don't get caught in his cleave. His cleave actually, it feels like it has a much wider range, so just be mindful of your positioning. So right there's people behind him. As you saw there, our healer and our melee were behind him, but the cleave reached around still. So be sure you gain as much distance from him as possible, because again, the cleave is much greater on challenge mode. Now when he opens up the cage with all the adds, just stack up, AoE him down, cleave him down, but put everything you can into Osier. Get him down as quickly as possible. Now he will open up a cage that has an acid spitter in it. All you need to do is just hard switch to it for a moment, get a stun out on it. It dies pretty fast. And again, just throughout the course of the fight, avoid his cleave. So once he pounces on someone and he goes to feed on them, that's when you want to pop some cooldowns to get him off him faster. You got to deal quite a bit of damage to him during that window. There he goes. He's going to do his cleave again. See, I got clipped right there, and that was a good 10-15 yards away from him. So just, again, be mindful of your positioning with this boss. So here he goes. He's going to open up one of these acid spitters. So you want to get on the Sky Reaver, stun it, or you can CC it, but keep interrupts on it. We don't want to let him fill up the platform with acid, because he does spit it out a little bit quicker, and it can get overwhelming rather fast. So we got a stun there, but Dots broke him, so he's going to get his spit off. And of course, I did a failed death grip on him, fail grip, when we was getting a stun up on him. So considering the boss is pretty low, we just said, fuck it, we're going to ignore everything at this point. So take a moment to get resources back. If you've got around 2.5 minutes on the boss, or 2 minutes or more coming up to the final boss here, I would say you safely got the gold in the bag, but that's going to also come... It's going to be dependent on your single target burst. You're definitely going to want to lust on the pool here and go to town. You want to kill Skolok first. Kill him first. Ignore the other bastards. Ignore them. The reason I say this is you only want to have one knockback. Just one knockback during this fight. If you end up with the second fight, you're going to lose about 20 seconds, and that can easily cost you a gold right there. Especially if you fell behind on a previous attack with a group of mods. Like if you fell behind on the gauntlet, a second knockback here will for sure cost you a gold. So put everything you can onto Skolok, get him as low as possible. You're going to get knocked back. Now the flame vents cover the platform a lot quicker during the cannon barrage, so you're going to want to haul ass over here to the left behind these crates. Your tank can opt to just run straight ahead too if he's got a strong CD available. So right here, our monk jumped ahead and got the boss activated for us so we can get back on him quicker. And so we got cleave going out on the other asshole too, which is fine. That's pretty much what you want. But we want to get rid of Skolok ASAP. So burst him down, put everything you've got into him. Another thing to note too is at the start, if you're targeted by the cannoneer, you want to try to kite that away from the group. We just decided to ignore that mechanic to a degree so we can put more damage up on Skolok. So they just popped defensive cooldowns, and our healer just went to town. Again, we have a Druid Overlord, which makes it that much easier. But once Skolok is down, you've pretty much got the fight in the bag right here. These guys go down with relative ease. and you get your gold. Thank you for watching. We will see you next time.